the want for it. You have to have the want to actually be able to have it.
Yes, right.
And so, especially if they're skeptical, if they come at me like, I'm really skeptical if this is going to work, and, I just sit back with them and I say, listen, here's what I want to do for you, is I understand you being skeptical, and I don't have any problem with that, and, I actually find that a great thing, but one of the things that I have to find out is if I'm able to accept you on as a patient, tell me why I should. You do the reverse flow with them. Because there's no need for most of the time what happens, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is it Dr. Shapiro?
Shiro.
If you were to sit there and explain to them why they shouldn't be skeptical, does it really help their skepticism?
Deepens it.
Exactly. So instead of sitting there trying to convince them, because that's what you're trying to do at that point is convince them why they shouldn't be skeptical, you don't go in the defensive mode. You go into the offensive mode. You say, listen, I really appreciate you being skeptical, and if I were you and I was in your shoes, I'd be skeptical just as well. But let me find out, if I'm able to help you, why should I take you on as a patient?
Great. That's excellent.
Good. So does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, you asked how much time and how long as far as the consult is concerned. Generally speaking, with an NRCT client, sometimes the consultation can take up to 45 minutes just depending on how severe they are.
Oh.
Just the consult.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why you have to cut them off. And when they start getting wordy or they end up telling you long stories, that's why we spent, that first part of the teleconference on explaining how to handle that, is because they can get too lengthy. And so, generally speaking, a consult should be about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? Excellent question, though. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, Christine.
Just a comment, Christina.
I'm sorry?
It's Gerald here. Just a comment. Hi. This was the most outstanding training and day one script I've ever heard. So whatever you're doing, you are a master expert. It was perfect.
Well,
so
thank
you so much.
Well, it was absolutely my pleasure. I'd asked Colette if I could help you guys on your day one, because I could see when people came through the Retention Mastery Program that were NRCT clients for our NRCT Retention Mastery Program that there were some stuck points, and I wanted to share with you guys how to get unstuck. So I appreciate that.
Fantastic. Well, this is outstanding.
So does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, Christina.
Christina, I have a question.
Yes, and who am I speaking with?
My name is Dr. Bear.
Go ahead, Dr. Bear.
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering, and this may not totally, after you do the newspaper ad and they come in for the consultation, and you kind of go through the testing with them, then you bring them back for the day one, correct? If
I would actually, personally, I would do the opposite flow.
Well, that's the question that I have. If we have, 10 to 20 people in here for the coming in on the ad of the paper, I've got to test all of those patients. And it takes probably 5 to 8 minutes to test one patient, correct?
Correct. Well, it takes what it takes, yeah.
Right. So my staff was asking me, how do we keep these people preoccupied in the meantime before they get tested?
They're calling in, correct, and scheduling.
Right.
Okay. So if they're calling in and scheduling, I wouldn't schedule them all in one sitting. I would spread them into my new patient time periods. So you put the ad out in the paper, right?
Right. We put the ad out in the paper.
Okay. So then you've got to, they're going to call in and they're going to schedule. So you've got to look at, okay, when are my consulting time periods and when are my treating time periods? Well, if your consulting time periods for new patients are 9 and 10 o'clock, then you schedule one at 9 and 10 o'clock. I wouldn't try to schedule 3 or 4 at 9 or 10 o'clock.
No, I would never do that. My question is, when you're doing the testing, you bring them back for a day one after they pass the test and they get positive results. I know to put them in at my consultation hours. But as far as I have, 10 or 20 patients in here,
to test them all after the workshop.
Yeah, you test them all after the workshop.
Right.
We're starting this next week.
Hold on. Let's back up a second, because we were talking about a newspaper ad. Are we talking about a newspaper ad, or are we talking about, bringing them in from a workshop?
No, we're talking about a newspaper ad, and I'm going to do a workshop, which is totally
so how do you
different
test them
from what
after
you're.
the workshop?
Say again.
How do you test them after the workshop? You've delivered the workshop, right? Because are you advertising the workshop with your newspaper ad?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's the part of information I was missing. So you're asking, how do you, right, test all of the people? Here's what I wouldn't test all of them. I would do a demonstration, and then I would schedule the rest of them to come in. Because you'd be at your workshop. How many people do you have, 15 or 20?
Well, we haven't done it yet, and our first workshop is this next week.
I mean, you have to understand, if you test 20 people and they all take 8 minutes, that's 160 minutes.
Exactly.
So you can't test all 20 people at the workshop. You want to do a demonstration at the workshop. You can do a demonstration. That's one way you can do it. You can do the demonstration, and then you can schedule the rest of the people to come in. Or you can leave it kind of a mystery and schedule them all to come in and not do a demonstration. I mean, you have your options on which way you want to do it.
So what's a safe cutoff point? Test 2 people and be done with it?
Yeah, or
nobody.
If you're going to test 2 people, you want to do it from the front so that others can see. The point of doing the test at the workshop is to have a person have that, oh my gosh, I'm out of less pain, so the rest of the crowd goes, oh. That's the whole point of doing the test at the workshop. You have to understand why you're testing at the workshop.
Yeah, and Christina, this is Dr. Curtis Cassidy. I've been doing the workshop since December, and for the last 3 of them, I've had them all come back to my office for testing, and I've had 100% of people come back to my office for testing, and I haven't done it at the workshop. It's worked a lot better.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
go ahead, Dr. Bear.
Excuse me. I don't want it to create a disaster if I happen to pick that wrong person and I don't get that magic moment.
That's why I would suggest more so just to have them leave it as a mystery and have them all come in for the testing at your office.
Sounds good to me.
And what I would do once you have them come into your office is I would do the consultation and then the test.
Okay, the day 1 and then the test. Okay.
Yeah. Because you want them to have a desire to have that test done.
Sure.
Yeah. Good. So does anybody else have another question?
Yeah, Christina, Dr. Lusacio here from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You were talking when you first started talking, you said asking the patient where did everything come from? You take a look at do you want us to take a look at your entire health? Is it an adrenal problem or a chemical problem? What was the third one?
Neurological.
Neurological. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Colette, do I have time to handle one more question if there is one?
You certainly can.
All right, does anybody else have another question? All right, so if nobody has any other questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end off here, and I'll look forward to talking to everybody about day 2 in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Christina.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.